Last week, North Carolina's Governor Josh Stein signed a law ending most parking minimums across the state. That means that starting in January 2027, cities in North Carolina can no longer require developers to build a set number of parking spaces for new apartments, stores, restaurants, or shopping centers. It passed overwhelmingly in the House and Senate. Parking minimums are city rules that go back roughly a century. The first known requirement was adopted in Columbus, Ohio in 1923, and then there was an explosion after World War II. Estimates cited by supporters of the North Carolina bill put the cost of a surface parking spot at $5,000 to $10,000, while a space in a parking garage could run upwards of $65,000 per spot. Those costs get built into rent, retail prices, restaurant tabs, whether you own a car or not. An urban planner named Donald Shoup spent decades writing about this. His argument was that there's no such thing as free parking. Someone always pays. His work turned into a broader housing reform movement that really started catching on about 10 years ago. Buffalo was the first major American city to eliminate parking minimums citywide in 2017. Minneapolis, San Francisco, Austin, Raleigh, and Durham have all followed. California and Oregon removed most requirements in transit-served areas in 2022. Washington, Montana, and Connecticut have imposed statewide limits since then. There's also evidence that parking minimums encourage driving. When apartment stores and workplaces come with abundant free parking, driving feels cheaper than it really is because the cost of that parking is hidden in rents and prices. Research tracking U.S. cities over time has found that increases in parking supply were followed by increases in car commuting, even after researchers accounted for other factors. The most common objection to ending parking minimums is that if a new apartment building has too little parking, then its residents and their visitors will end up parking on the neighborhood streets. But reformers do acknowledge this. Their answer is that cities need to manage their street parking directly, with permits, time limits, pricing, and meters, rather than making every single new development build enough private parking for the busiest possible day. In denser places, some of the demand shifts to transit, rideshare, and shared commercial parking. In places that are truly car-dependent, this reform works less cleanly, which is why North Carolina carved out a coastal communities exemption because they don't have the same options. Coalitions supporting the North Carolina bill reportedly included over 130 organizations. Environmental groups like the Sierra Club signed on because parking lots pollute waterways and pave over land. Pro-housing groups signed on because parking rules drive up the cost of new apartments. And free market groups like Americans for Prosperity signed on because they don't think cities should be dictating how many parking spaces private businesses need to build. Parking minimums are one of a handful of rules like single-family zoning and family-based occupancy limits that for years garnered little attention while quietly shaping what cities look like and how much they cost. Ending them is one of the smaller ways cities have started to loosen their grip.